It's the place you told me you believed in me. And I thought it makes sense being back here to do this.
Your son is about to make a huge mistake.
Well, I'm gonna be a priest.
For Halloween.
I'm praying for you, Bill.
Don't you dare. You're violating my rights.
Now, you talk about in the press notes that one of the things that inspired you was Mel's passion. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I thought, I remember seeing it for the first time and I was just like, wow, this is an amazing love letter to God. And so to be able to kind of just take it upon himself to go and do that, it was just kind of sparked something in me, because I was always just trying to do more, trying to figure out creative and unique ways to do something with all the gifts that have been bestowed upon me. And so to see that, which was many, many years ago, and then later on recognized that when the story came to me, it was like, wait a second here, here's a unique opportunity. It didn't make me think about the passion, but I did after a while thinking, wow, this is probably going to be difficult to get made. It's such a wild story that I don't think, you march into a major studio and say, I got the next franchise. So it was like, how do I get this done? And then I remembered that Mel did it, and I picked his brain a bit, and he was very helpful. But I knew it was something that mattered, and those kind of things are difficult. So I just had to accept the task and not take no for an answer, and keep pushing it uphill until I got it made.
Well, it's a true story of redemption, right? I mean, he's the ultimate, he's got a rough past, but it shows that anyone really can come to faith. And what do you think it was that really spurred him into faith?
He was always looking for his purpose. He was angry at the world. It was understandable. His parents had lost a child, his younger brother, at a very early age to a very rare disease. They didn't know how to cope with that. They left him to his own devices and dealt with it in the best way that they could. And, he was just kind of angry at the world and, searching. He would go look everywhere to find his purpose. And then it kind of found him. That's when his real power was turned on. It was amazing to see a guy everything seemed to be predicated on his physical attributes. And then all of a sudden, for the spirituality to open up like that, it was very powerful.
And actually, in a way you played it, he feels like he's more at peace when he realizes his purpose. I mean, it's just like a subtle difference, but it does seem like he's found peace.
Well, no need to search anymore. Now it's time to get to work, and he was just as determined as anybody, but in a way where he just felt like he had a lot of ground to make up, and there's so much to be done and so many people that needed to be helped and touched. And so, he's a pretty remarkable man.
And in the press notes, you say something along the lines of, you hope people go to the theater to experience God and experience the Holy Spirit, just like they do at the church. Could you talk more about that?
Well, I think this is not a movie that's just for Catholics or Christians. This really is a movie for anybody who's struggling in life and wants a reminder to be inspired and to never give up hope and to continue to have faith. And also to remind people that we're not giving up on people. We're going to love people for who they are. We're going to see the good in them, and we're going to challenge them to be better. And we're going to hold ourselves to that same standard. But it's the only way we're going to bring people together. And we're all going through very difficult and uncharted waters. It's been a crazy last couple of years for everybody. And so this movie couldn't be more timely.
I had talked to Mark, and he told me that one of the inspirations he had for the film was because you did The Passion. Can you talk more about that?
Well, I think he realized that there was a thirst out there for sort of, more profound faith-based content. So he and also the model with which we did it, which was to just get it up and running yourself and self-finance and see how it went. So he took the gamble, and I think it's paid off.
Yeah. And did you help him, lead him along? Because I know a lot of these faith-based movies can have trials to them, but there's a huge audience for it. There's 150 million people that go to church every week. So there is a big audience there. But
yeah, I think so. Look, I can't tell Mark anything about business. The guy is the ultimate, kind of king of, he's got fingers in all kinds of different pies, but I think, but I recognize that he was correct in his assumption that there was supply and demand. There was a real demand for this kind of thing. And then when I saw the screenplay finally, I realized that it really sort of hit the mark. It was very not sugar-coated, not preaching to the choir. It was, solid. It's all about real people.
Yeah. I mean, what would you hope for someone who actually wasn't, someone, a believer would get out of the movie? Would you hope that they were inspired and found a purpose in life?
No, absolutely. And this is what this man does. He finds a purpose by acknowledging there's something greater than him, and then finding humility. He travels from ego to humility. And then he's able to sort of weather the next batch of storms that come along, because, he didn't get dealt a great hand. He had some suffering, but he was predisposed to understand that suffering in a way that gave him purpose, and that there was a reason for it. And he triumphed over that, and he gave to a lot of other people. He took what he gained and learned and handed it to people, and people closest to him, his parents. It's great.
And it seemed like your character even had a softening of his heart.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah. And in fact, that did happen. He converted his dad before he died, and which was one of his, big major wants, and his mom too. And he was instrumental in putting them on the road he thought they needed to be. And, he was just a healer.
Yeah.
He became a healer, even when he was sick.
That's beautiful. And it reaches, there's two elements to this movie. It reaches people who have dealt with sickness, and it reaches people who have, all the trials that the family went through. So
yeah, sure.
I think that's nice. Did the two of you support each other in the faith while you were on set? Did you do anything like praying or anything like that together on set to help?
I was just praying I'd get there on time. Yeah, I think Mark gets up like early and does his meditations and stuff, and I just get to it when I can. It's like I'm not. I need a few coffees in me before I can get going.
Yeah.
But the spirit on the set was there, and everybody was into it, and the director was amazing. I mean, she'd written before, but she wrote and directed this. It was just a tall order, but it was the first time she directed, and did it with aplomb.
And what I appreciated about it, it was heavy themes, but you had a lot of laughter. The way you all delivered your lines, there was comedy as well, in there.
Oh yeah. I think people laugh when they recognize the truth, and so there was those laughs from truth and character and stuff, and then there were then of course they cry for the same reasons, yeah. and because they laughed with you, So it's like it's a pretty well balanced screenplay.
Who are you here to visit, sir?
Father Stu.
You and everybody else.
When the man comes around.
We shouldn't pray for an easy life, but the strength to endure a difficult one. Well, you can't say I never gave you nothing.
Yeah, I skipped over thanking you. Went straight to the source.